What's going on? It's your boy Will My Craven coming to you with another day, with another video. And as you can see, the table is out today, and we will be dealing with an illustration. So this illustration is going to be more so teaching. I think I really need to actually just teach this instead of really doing typical illustration I've done before. So what's the topic today? Equality and balance. So these two on the table currently right now, this over here represent us as human beings, and this over here represents the spirit world. Unfortunately, I should have, well, they didn't have more of these, so these only came with them, and I can't find these separate. But I prefer to have more spirit than these. But neither here nor there. So let me change the order of this. So with these, what happens is that we're going through life as these are various stages in life. So we have to understand that this here is, of course, we know is a scale. And with it being the scale, this is life. Life is happening on here. And a lot of times we think that it's us on one side and someone else we know on one side. And that's actually not the case. What the actual case is, when the balance and scales of life, is that we as human beings are on this side and the spirit world is on this side. And it's the same as a tug of war, that it's going back and forth, trying to slow you down, trying to make you lose. And somewhere along the way, we've got it wrong, to where we think we're tugging against another individual, and really we're not. We're really tugging against these over here, these unforeseen forces trying to stop us. And it's very unfortunate that we don't really fully understand this, or some people just don't believe this. Whether you want to call this bad luck, whether you want to call it bad energy, animosity, or whatever it is, it's basically the spirit world attacking you. It's the unforeseen forces attacking you. As people say, oh, I can feel that energy. That's a spirit moving against you. Whether you want to call it spirit or not, I like to call it spirits. But it's moving against you. And it's always going to be there. It really depends on how much we learn, how much we grow, how much we can better ourselves to minimize the effects of the spirit world, in which the spirit world is limited to the spirit. So as human beings, we're made up of body and spirit. So we have an actual advantage in being able to be made up of body and spirit, as opposed to the spirit world, in which the spirit world also deals with the mental state. We're in this era right now where we're mental, but your mental is technically your spirit, man. It's your spirit being. Everything that's happening up here, you're hearing other stuff that's happening that doesn't even sound like yourself, or you think it may sound like you. That's all spirit. That's all within your mental state, which is actually covering the spirit realm. So you're being affected in that nature by this that's going on here. There's an actual spiritual battle, aka what you all know it as a mental battle. And it is very important that this is why I preach so much about being in control over your emotions, because your emotions are also tied to your spirit man. They trigger it. It's being triggered. So, when you start gaining control of your emotions and you start gaining control over the things that it is that you do, when this starts attacking you, it doesn't have the same effect. So let me go ahead and start diving into this aspect part of it, in which this here is you. This is how you start. You start here. And when you start here, this is when this would be like your parents, somewhere in here, or even here, depending on if they started way too early. But this is how you start. And with you starting that way, there's something assigned to you. And these are assigned in stages. Because here's the harsh reality. If the spirit world, because they're very smart, they understand how this goes. And they're not going to beat you down right away. That's not the object of their assignment. Their assignment is not to beat you down right away. It's just to bump you along. Why? Because your life is being manipulated to try to get funneled into a certain direction. Because when you really examine your life, you start realizing how much you affect someone else around you. So in affecting someone else around you, you start to understand, once you start really getting older, you start understanding that certain things are just, these forces are doing just enough to try to alter you to a certain way. Why? Because when it alters you a certain way or a certain path, you're going to go down this path. And once you go down this path, you make new connections. And those new connections get influenced by you in some kind of way. So they're not going to turn around and send this big boy to you. Why? Because you'd feel defeated. And if you feel defeated, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to do much with life. This is how a lot of people, because they're going through this spiritual mental battle, that they want to take their lives or give up. And it's like, all right, okay, cool. But you notice that usually happens around a certain age. It doesn't happen in the early stages because you haven't affected anyone yet. And this is why I say longevity and time is so important, because when time goes past, connections are made, deeper connections are made. So if you was to get to this point and decide to offer yourself, it's going to be bigger ramifications because time went past for you to get to this stage, and then people are going to feel some type of way when you do that. But I don't want to get too far off into that, even though it is important to actually state. But this is what's happening. No, I don't even want to go there. I don't want to put this on the scale yet. You've gotten here to a certain point in your life, made by your parents. When you reach this size 2 gram, this is going into after 10 years old, all the way up until you're like 18. And this here is a 5. You hit a different mark, which would be 18, beyond 18, 19 years old to about, we'll say 28. And this here is like from 29 until about 40. I'll say right there. By then, you should have seen enough, had more of these, reproduced these. And at this point, things shouldn't be bothering you as much. So, yeah. So, like I said, you reach this phase, everything's great. When you come into the world, you don't really know much, but everything's great. At a certain period, this guy's going to come on. But this is going to be great for you at this point because all you know is these here, and they're doing everything to make your life comfortable. And it's going to be comfortable and great to you because you don't know anything. So at some point, this guy does come along, probably around the age of 1, and so he comes along and starts really introducing things to you, maybe a little after 1, where you're starting to be contrary to your parents. So he comes along, and every time you grow, Well, actually, I'll take that back. Number 2 comes along on his own. But after 2 comes, he then leaves quite often to go get reinforcements because he knows what's going on with you. And a lot of times, when they come, they're coming being more of them than you. So there's a Bible scripture that comes to mind that 1 can chase 1,000, 2 can chase 10,000. So this is mainly for us on this side and family structure. But family structure has been tainted because women are taught that they're equal. And like I said at the beginning, they think they're on this side. When the truth of the matter is, when this comes to family, it's not about you being equal. It's all about being balanced, bringing balance, not being balanced. It's bringing balance. So you're bringing balance to the opposition to make, and in doing so, it strengthens the core of the family. So as you then got to this certain phase of your life, and now you've at this point, of course, like I said, this one will leave, and then he'll come back with another guy. So, as I said, this is 19 to like 28. So you're going through life having a lot of things to deal with. You may lose friends, you may lose loved ones during this age because they're getting older and going to school and doing everything it is you're doing. And now in this whole new era of social media, it seems like things aren't going right. It seems things aren't tipped in your favor. So at times, they may have one leave. They may have one come back. It may seem like nothing is going well, and they decide to gang up on you even more. And it's like, I can't win for losing. That's what your life feels like. But you have to know that the more information you gain, the more experience you gain, the more you grow. So throughout this whole time period, you may even have this guy come out. And he may come out just for a little while and leave. What are they doing? They're getting intel on you. They're learning you. This is why I say it is so important that you learn who you are. And the best way you can do that is really learn your parents. Pay attention to the past. Pay attention to the present. Talk to your parents so you gain the essence of where you may be going in the future or who you may become in the future. Even if you are going in a different direction that they are going in, certain things you're going to respond to the same way as them because you've learned from them. They brought you up. So when you decide to, as a man, and you get to this stage where it's like, all right, cool. Look how much that it's a lot of them, and there's only one of you. But of course, they're not going to let it go too long, to where they may add something else to say, all right, cool, let's test them. Let's test them out. So things, before I even add one, it's like, all right, cool, this is going in your favor. Then all of a sudden you decide to add, as a man, add a wife, add a woman to your life. She's bringing more balance. And see, when it comes to the scales, you either want it here or you want it to where it's totally balanced. You don't, even when it's here, we technically don't want to experience, well, actually, I take that back. Even when it's not in our favor, it's still a good experience because we're learning. We get to learn in that aspect when it's like that. So things are good. When you get into a relationship, she's now brought balance, which means things are in your favor. Not necessarily the scales are actually equal, but they're in your favor. Therefore, you can constantly build. You can build and build and build. This is how we build when things are in our favor. We have these pocket moments of things working well for us. And it is important that she is taught not to be in competition with you, or it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna push my career, I'm pushing my profession, and it's all about me. When it comes to relationship, it is not all about you. Just as well as the man, it is not all about him. It is about understanding in regards to being a man, it is all about understanding the vision, understanding yourself. And when you do that, there are benefits that fall off onto others, which then means you have to be conscious and understand that you need a lot of information you need to know in order to teach something or teach whatever it is that you're going to teach. That goes within your vision, your plan, to make sure you reach your destiny and also find fulfillment. If you don't have any of that, she shouldn't even be here, because she's going to bring balance allow you to be capable of fighting these unforeseen forces. But unfortunately, there are some who are over here, think they belong over here, say, oh, okay, like this whole pressure movement. Like, no. Why do you need to put pressure on him? There's no need to put pressure on him. The objective is to put pressure on these over here. That's the objective, is to put pressure on them. It's like, oh, okay, now we got to up our game, because it's all about you all winning, not just one person winning. Oh, I want this and I want that. And you've been made to believe, you've been picked to be put over here on purpose, because these forces understand, all right, we know, we all say the love of money is the root of all evil, in which, like, all right, cool. Well, we know, we over here know the spirits. Well, unfortunately, camera battery died. So if this takes a little different direction, yeah. But her being on this side is oh, that's what it was. Money in the root of all evil. Well, money is the root of all evil. So this side over here understand these unforeseen forces understand that this current climate and the current era that we're in, that people are chasing the bag. And we hear it all the time. Oh, you're chasing the bag, you're chasing the bag. You got to get the bag. Oh, this and that. So a lot of times, if she's over here, she's thinking that her happiness is what she's thinking about. She's thinking about a bag. She's thinking about being equal, and she's thinking about being pressure. These are all wrong, because she's on the wrong side of the scales. She's on the side where the opposition is. And this is where a lot of males find themselves in this day and age, because these forces have convinced individuals that all that stuff I just named is beneficial for them. It's a good look for them, when it really isn't, because it's creating D, which means two, and it's vision. It's creating two visions, instead of letting this guy over here lead the ship when he knows what he's doing, when he's been taught how to do it. But unfortunately, this happens and there's a whole problem. And therefore, balance is not transpiring. You're not on the same page, and it feels like nothing's going right, and she's doing this and she's doing that, and it's making more problems for you. Well, my money is my money, and I'm going to spend his money, and now we're in debt over here, and I got these bills over here. And then you got to hear, well, you shouldn't be broke. First of all, not everyone's born into a certain situation where their financial means is on point. And in regards to men, it takes a lot of us, unless we've been handed it to us or put in position to have it at an early stage, we're fighting a system that they actually have created, because they sit here and they say stuff to individuals. They're gonna say stuff to individuals to get you to go a certain way. So being on this side should not be transpiring, but a lot of these individuals who I said were like adults are not teaching the ones who fit in this 19, 20 something category, and there's an issue going on. So when this does happen, like I said, now you decide to want to either have a family or create a family. These guys are going to eventually bring somebody else to the table. And at some point, one of them may have to leave. One of them may come back. You may see this one leave. They're smart enough to know that, all right, we're going to do everything we can to keep it moving up and down, up and down. And you have to understand that. You really have to understand. You know, there's a scripture that says God won't put more on you than you can bear. Well, he knows that even when it does seem unbearable, you have to have the strength and fortitude to actually keep going. So, because the load will lessen the longer you stay in, you stay in this life, and you keep putting in the work. As long as you keep putting in the work, it's going to keep moving. It's going to move like that. Opposition is going to keep going backwards, and they ain't going to do nothing but send more and more in front of you. But when you build a whole team and a whole family that can go with the team, it's going to move it. It's going to move it. That's what I said earlier about the whole tug of war. You start putting these pieces in front of it, or you getting with it, you're going to move it. It's going to move. But once you, like I said, introduce a family, like I said before, brings happiness. Of course, one of these are going to come. More and more of these are just going to flat out come. Even once you start, the kid grows. And you have another kid. There are benefits there. But of course, they're going to turn around and add other elements to your life. Like, as I said, the whole money and root of all evil. They're going to add different elements to where it seems like, oh, okay, well, now I got to pay for this. Oh, this broke down. You know, it's like these little, there's a scripture that said, the little foxes destroy the vine. There's these little things that start happening in there to where it's like, oh, man, now this just happened. Man, I'm in a pinch. But as long as you keep moving and keep evaluating, it's like, all right, cool, what do I need to do? Can I get a little help? Show me what it is I need to do. These are things that should be actually coming out of your mouth and resonating within your spirit. Because at some point, as long as children are manifesting, and as long as you're communicating and she's comprehending what you're communicating, she then gets more value to her. And which this part here is usually what ends up happening, and it starts getting people. And it gets people because the minute you start teaching her certain things, she thinks she's equal to you and on the same page as you. And you have to teach this whole thing about situations are coming. We stay on the ship. We're just going through a storm right now. The storm is not going to last forever. Even if the storm lasts 2-3 weeks, or we say in trials and tribulation life, if the storm you're in lasts 2-3 years, it's going to eventually pass. You have to bunker down and also have been in a position to be taught by someone. And that's a lot of times why people jump ship, because they never were taught. Like, all right, if this happens, you understand. Did you cause the storm? Nope, didn't cause a storm. The storm was beyond my control. Okay, so when the storm comes, this type of storm, there's this type of storm, this type of storm, this type of storm. You need to be able to know what to do when this storm comes. But a lot of times people get out there, they haven't even been taught how to counteract the storm. So next thing you know, like I said before, she's over here. And now that there are little ones over here, she take them over there too. Now, with this scale right here, it's being placed on this wood. So there's a benefit there. So as long as it's on the wood, and you have to think that as well, as long as God has this situation to where it's not falling off, there's still enough time for me in life to man up, level up, grow up, and learn from this stuff. See, the minute I take this off, it's gonna fall off. It go all off the rails, and that's what they want you to do. Because once you fall off, this is gonna go off the rails, and the connection is to you. This family that you created, there's a connection to you. They're all on one side. Now, so even when you leveling up with that situation, still a lot there going on. But the key of the matter, the key factor in the matter, is that you have to remain consistent until the end, because this ain't gonna keep affecting you your whole life. The more you grow up, the more you learn. This stuff like this just won't even bother you anymore. But the harsh reality is that as a woman, if he's taught you to level you up, you should not be jumping ship and blaming him for certain things that's transpiring. Like, certain situations are beyond your control. If you lost a child, that was beyond your control. You got to understand that that's beyond your control. Things that are beyond your control, and forces are doing stuff that they ain't got no business, like they're saying in the Matrix, when she's sitting on the bench in the park with Neo. Man, I thought you would have learned that by now. When she said, well, there's programs, hacking programs, and simulating certain things. When she said the boogeyman, you ever heard of the vampires or whatever doing something they ain't got no business? That's programs hacking programs, causing problems. Spirits hacking other individuals, trying to download into the individual to get them to do things physically that they can't do. A spirit can't do nothing physically. They can only hack into another individual to make them do something. And then this is when you start calling those individuals haters. That's how that happens. And you may have someone go on the other side, trying to cause problems and frictions. This could be one of her family members or your family member trying to be in your business and tell you what it is that you're supposed to be doing, when they technically don't have a clue as to what it is you're actually pushing for. Because once you hit a certain age, all their job was to teach you good foundational pieces and how to navigate through life. Their job isn't to make the decisions for you. And a lot of times, these spirits over here will turn around and get involved to turn around and try to make you make decisions that they want you to make, not understanding where it is you're going. That doesn't help you none. And if you're not paying attention if you don't catch it and have this communication within your family, say, no, this is what's happening. I need y'all, don't say nothing. Just watch, pay attention. And if they're listening to you, they will see. And every time you say something like that, you should be looking for real life examples manifest and say, see, remember when I told you such and such and such? See, that's the result of it. You see what's happening over there? They then get to see it, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that does make sense. And once they see it, then they'll start seeing it elsewhere happening. This is what I do with my son all the time. And he was like, hey, did you see such such? They such such such. So he knows how to identify it. That's how you gain tools. Tools to help you level up, grow up, mature, to be able to withstand these rascals over here trying to stop you. They can't stop you when you're doing that. And of course, as you keep going through life, your children are going through the same process as you. And you built this, and we're going to take this one off. Use it as a child as well. You're building. Of course, this big rascal going to try to come too. But you're building. And even then, they're going to add kids. And they're going to add someone else. And of course, the longer you keep growing and the more you keep teaching and communicating with your wife, she's going to turn around and get just as big as you. And of course, by then, you should be leveling up some more too. It's a whole process. That's why I say maturation and whole maturity makes perfect, because you're growing. You're growing. This isn't about the individuals who you want to be in a relationship and build a family with. They shouldn't be on this side of the balance scale. They should never be on that side of the balance scale. But unfortunately, it happens because people aren't taught. But this here, man, I want to take these all off. Pretty much done with this. Yeah, just dump it. This here, man, you need to understand that life is going to always dish out some disappointments. It's going to always dish out trials and tribulations and things that may seem like they're not going your way. You have to constantly gain knowledge from life to level up. I hear so much, disregard the past, dismiss the past. The past is erased. The past is never erased, and you should never desire to erase it. It's how you grow. It's how you fix certain things that have transpired. Like, all right, wait, cool. Wait, I heard that when I was a kid that my mama said this, or my dad said that, or whoever, my grandma said this and that. And then you see what it is in your present state that they said. That shapes you. That helps make you. That teaches you. That grows you. All these things happen, and this is how you actually level up. But if you want to dismiss your past, it'll make you stagnant and be like that. You don't want to be like that. You want to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger to withstand the forces. And when the forces do come, whether you call on your family, whether you call on God, or whatever it is you do, you have the ability to move it. And here's the thing. We know and understand that even if this is in front of you, when you gain momentum, or let's just say you going downhill, it don't make a difference how much weight in front of you. Once this gets pushed to going downhill, it's going to send them downhill too. That momentum is not going to stop. So you got to also know where it is that you are in life and understand your surroundings. I remember doing a post on social media. I may try to find it and put it up here somewhere. I think it deal with PitSmart or some crap I said. But I had this image in the background of where you were going through the forest and saying that the unseen things in the dark forest are there to help you go through the forest. They're actually guiding you, and it may seem scary because it's unknown and you don't know what's there. But the harsh reality is those things that are there are actually helping you get through and out of the forest. Just can't be afraid to move forward. And that is one of the most biggest things that you cannot allow yourself to be, is afraid to move forward. And we have to understand that as individuals, even when it don't matter what situation or relationship it is, we all bring balance to someone. We're not there to compete, to be, oh yeah, I'm better than you. It's not what it should be about. Even if it looks like someone is better than you, they're adding balance to you to help you level up. That's all it is. But we've taught for so many years that, oh, okay, well, he better than you. Oh, then you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, and now you're pit against each other. No. If someone appears to be better than you, you need to use that as a tool to level up. And if you know you're better than the individual, you bring them up. Your state of being better brings them up, and it then turns around and, all right, cool, now I can improve. Now that's another thing to help push me to get better. Like the stuff that I'm doing currently now, and with other individuals that's in my circle. It's like, no, I want them to be at a certain place because I know it's going to bring me to a certain place. And when I get to a certain place, I got people that's already in place to be able to sit with me at the table and don't feel a certain type of way because I put them in a position to come along with me. And then when I want to sit down and enjoy, I have someone actually to sit down and enjoy with a whole family, a whole team that I created. And we're all together. No competition. No one's better than the other one. We all eat, man. And that's how relationships go. That's how marriage should go. You're here, she's with you. It doesn't make a difference of how much more he is than her. I mean, naturally speaking, he should be, because he has to shoulder more responsibility. He has to be stronger to be able to handle the forces like that. A lot of women are not going to want to go out and handle those forces right there. That's why they're more emotional. It's a support. It brings balance. That's what it's for. It's not to, oh, okay, I look the same as you, now I'm better than you. I don't need you. We hear that a lot. We're as men, we're told we need women, but they're told they don't need us. You see how that doesn't even make any sense, especially when it takes a man to actually make everyone else. One man can turn around and make a whole nation or a whole tribe. I mean, Nick Cannon, it's just one of him, and he's made a bunch of kids. What more can you say? What more do you need to see? Look, man, this whole process here is very important. And it's important that we understand that balance is being brought to the table. It's being brought to the scales. And it is not equality. We really need to shed that term of equality, because under the guise of equality is these guys over here eventually telling you that you need to take power. And at some point, they're going to try to take power. And we see it with the feminists. They're like, oh, equality. But there are men being made to cower down and bow down to a woman. And the harsh reality is she's going to be emotional. So her feelings and her voice of reason may be all over the place, unless some man taught her well. And if he did teach her well, she's going to know how to fall back, because even as men, we have to fall back. We all have to fall back and to learn. In order to learn, you got to fall back. Let whoever it is that's teaching you show you the way. Well, with that being said, I don't want to go too much further. This is the one of many attempts after so many technical difficulties. And even with this is rigged up. It came broke. Like, oh man, I want to get this over and done. But anyway, hopefully y'all having a wonderful day. Hopefully you are having a wonderful year. Even if it don't seem wonderful, understand that there are forces trying to stop you from doing your purpose. Find your purpose. Get better. Strive to mature. Be perfect. Because in doing so, there's going to be others benefiting from your life. And you want them to benefit from you. Because you, at some point in your life, you benefited from someone else. So understand this. You were here. There's a reason why you're here. You beat 1 million other sperm to get here. You beat all odds to get here. Therefore, do what it is that you need to do to maintain and make others around you better. Your life will do that. It's significant. Never think you're insignificant because you beat 1 million sperm to get here. There's nothing more greater than that. That's like 1 million sperm to beat. It's like beating certain cities. Certain cities don't even have 100,000 people in it. Let that marinate. You beat 1 million other sperm in order to get here. That's extremely important. And with that being said, it's your boy Will Craven. Be easy.